What's going on, guys? Today we are touching in for a market review video with Trader XO. Before we start, let's get the disclaimer out of the way. This is not a signals channel. The content here is purely educational. I'm not a financial advisor and the content in these videos is not financial advice. So with all that said and done, let's crack on. Okay, how have you been?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Yourself?
Good.
Good weekend?
Yeah. Lovely weekend, yeah. Went on some nice hikes, did a bit of cooking. Nice relaxation time, my friend. Nice relaxation time, much needed. What about yourself?
Indeed. Yeah, pretty much the same. Just time away from the screens, enjoy some UK weather, and good to be back at the desk. I know we've got the ETH ETF announcement this Wednesday, so
Yeah.
I suspect some market uncertainty heading into the event. Will the ETF be approved? I'm not so sure. I mean, either way, I'm positioned such that if the ETF does somehow get approved, well, you and I have both been positioned into Ethereum from the 29s. I think if there is a rejection, then potentially could see a short, sharp sell-off, but I deem that to be a buying opportunity once again heading into Q3. I think I've been fairly adamant that Q2 is a corrective phase. It certainly has been playing out that way since April. It's now, almost the end of March. We've got another 10 days left, and we're heading to the final month of Q2. And I'm just hopeful that things really do pick up in Q3. So that's kind of my view. I'm not sure what your outlook is, for the short term and the next few months.
Yeah, so I mean, still bullish biased for sure. As you know, that's been sort of my narrative for pretty much the most part of this year. In terms of trading, I'm not taking too many trades at the moment, trying to keep my fingers off the keyboard, largely speaking. As you know, I took this Bitcoin trade here. We were talking about that range deviation. Remember, we had a screen share the day before, going through it and just discussing the possibility of that deviation playing out, the reclaim, and then taking it along up to 100K. So yeah, still very much in play on that side of things. And yeah, just trying to keep my hands off, still in spot positions on the alts, investing, of course, and just trying to ride this up without taking too much action at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's the logical approach. I think a lot of people are going to do the heading, trying to trade this chop. Whereas in reality, I think perhaps a better approach for those who may not be so technically proficient with trading is to wait for those extremes or extremities of a move. We saw that.
Yeah, of course.
At 56, 57K, it's a level that you and I both mapped out. Several weeks ago. It's a level that you and I advocated that this is the area to be looking for longs, and lo and behold, it's played out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think every time you and I have come and stream this year, we've pretty much nailed the significant lows. I believe we nailed the lows on 37, 38K on Bitcoin back in when was it, January or February time, and that saw the move up to around about the 70K level. And once again, I think this key level at 56 has played out really well to at least to 65s. The question is, I don't know whether we're still remaining in a corrective phase or whether we're ready to push on higher. But looking at equities and Nasdaq trading new all-time highs and the Dow Jones, it makes me wonder how much of a lag crypto has this time around before inevitably we see prices at least push back up to the range highs. I suspect. I'll be very surprised if we don't at least retest the 70, 75K region. But let's wait and see, Either way, I think I'm equally prepared should Bitcoin break down below, 61, well, the monthly open level, then that may be a slight cause for concern, but I think that also presents a good buying opportunity, potentially lower down as well. So overall, I'm looking to bid the market, and I'm just looking to short the market only from a hedging perspective. So if I feel like, for example, now where currently you and I have long 59s, I've really long 61s as well. This is probably a slight area of contention where I've just opened up some hedge shorts, but again, this is just very, very short time frame noise for me. Like I said, I think over a big enough picture.
Yeah,
as long
yeah.
as
I think Bitcoin looks nice there. I mean, even looking at what we're at default on the 4 hour here, even looking at this this retest to mid we're having here. I mean, it's looking super strong, and we're definitely starting to see a shift of momentum. We're now starting to see the bid come through on this move up, which is nice. And even if we look at the delta, we can see there's just subtle clues and nuances, as you can see here, when market is pulling back, even shallow pullbacks, we are starting to see that negative delta come through. And that sort of delta dynamic is something to definitely pay attention. It's something I've been paying attention to anyway. Just in
Could you
terms
just
of
talk?
assets. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to ask you just from a just assume that I know nothing about delta. Do you just want to talk through the basics of what you're seeing here on the screen, just perhaps a couple of minutes, just breaking down the spot, the perp, the delta spot, and the delta perp.
Yeah, of course. So spot perp, this is just
what is it you're looking for? Yeah, essentially.
So this is the relationship between the spot markets and the perp markets. So essentially what you want to be seeing here is spot pushing. If spot is leading, that gives more credence to the move, right? Then we move into the deltas. These are aggregated deltas. So it's aggregating information from a bunch of exchanges. And that basically gives you much more validity in the delta, as opposed to looking at isolated delta from, say, just one exchange, Bybit, Binance, whatever it is. And yeah, essentially what you want to be seeing is when we have those pullbacks, then you do want to see that negative delta, aggregated delta be produced. Essentially what that means is that there are market participants that are pushing price down via market order, and that market selling pressure is being absorbed by passive market participants that are acting in the form of limits. And essentially what we tend to say by theory of delta is that the stronger hand operates in limits, right? So if you've got a huge whale market participant coming through, these tend to be the people that shape the direction of the market, right? It's not your retail, apes that are smashing market. It's larger market participants that are coming through, operating via limit, absorbing market orders, and then influencing the direction of price.
Yeah, and I think a key example of that was when price traded 56k a few weeks ago. I remember you and I jumping on a call just to talk trading setups and that, what we thought about price coming into that level there. And yeah, that dropped to 56k. I think like I said, we both pretty much nailed the long on Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see it here. I remember going through
Yeah.
a screen share with you.
Correct, yeah.
Huge spikes of negative delta here. Again, we're getting big spikes on both spot and perps, spot being the more important one, but great to have agreement between the two. Then we also have really big aggregated liquidations as well. And, when you have these three match up, boom, you're good,
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what gave me conviction, with long in that 57k level, along with the Ethereum is when we jumped on call and we saw this play out. It's like, yeah, we think this is it. This is good to go.
Yeah.
Back up and it's turned out to be a very, very good trade. So
that's it. Really, and then you take, obviously, it goes without saying, delta is super important, but you have to match that up with the charts, and price action comes first always. So as you know, we were looking at this sort of range in here at the time, and we were both vocally discussing this pocket of demand in here. And then we had that range and that potential PO3 play out, deviation, whatever you want to call it. So as soon as price starts coming into this zone, that's when we're really switching on to the delta. That's when we're looking at the delta for those clues. Is that absorption taking place? Because when you're up here and you're ranging, we can have a theory that when it comes down here, that it will be absorbed within this pocket of liquidity. But we have to see that presented in itself. And the thing that I like so much about the delta is that it's not looking at a heat map where it's all hearsay. You're looking at it in real time. You're looking at what has happened, what has just happened, Has absorption just taken place? If so, boom, you've got the signal to enter, So that's really, without the delta, I would struggle to enter this tight. The fact that I got an entry down here at the 57s into that demand zone is purely because we had that. Then we have the delta, we look at it and we can go, okay, cool, we can build a position in here. Otherwise, I'd have to say to myself, okay, cool, but we're having that pause down right here. Price isn't able to push further past that demand zone, but I'd have to really have some more confirmation, i.e. wait for a reclaim of this range here. So if that was the case, then, the position would probably look something more like this, which gives you a completely different dynamic in terms of the R of the trade,
Absolutely. No, great points, fantastic points, and I think it certainly helps to add confluence, and it really comes into its own when price hits these extremes, right? It's then you're looking for additional confidence as to why you can take the trade.
Yeah, for sure.
Price dictates, and then the additional confluencing factors such as delta or maybe an oscillator will help confirm that. But again, my preference is Delta. Now that you've really sold me on it over the last year or so. Moving forward, let's talk trading setups.
Sure.
Now, let's just assume, obviously, we know we're both in a position, we're both long, long on Bitcoin. Assume one never caught the move. What would be the next trading setup from a long perspective here on Bitcoin? Is there a possibility you see those lows at 60K? Could they get swept, do you think? And potentially we retest the range lows one last time before we push higher? I think we can't rule that out. I think it's certainly a level that would cause an element of fear. People would think, look, it's another potential. This could be Bitcoin could break down. But for me, until we break down of the range, I'm going to continue bidding that level, because I still believe that there's every possibility that we could go back to the range highs. We've spent some time here at the range lows over the last few weeks, consolidating, unable to break down. We had some large delta at 56, 57K, some heavy selling being absorbed. I just feel that liquidity now is resting to the upside and may cause people to chase this move up higher. And then we'll see what happens afterwards.
Well, that's what I want to see now, really. I mean, basically, with these PO3 style plays, essentially what you really want to see is, the prolonged period of the move being that initial phase one, the range. Then the dip down deviation, I think in the PO3 textbook, they call it manipulation, is very short-lived. And then essentially the expansion phase, which is phase 3, is meant to be technically very sharp and to the upside. So will we get that move down to sweep, what was it, the 60K level you said here? I'm not sure. If we do, then yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a nice bid opportunity, especially if coupled with that negative delta we've just spoken about. Let's break it down. Let's map it out. So we've got that 60K level here. We can see we also actually have a bit of a pocket of demand that's formed into here as well. And as you know, when we are seeing these sort of sweep plays, we do want to see liquidity the other side of the sweep as well. Just gives us that additional confidence in the trade, which is always nice. We also do have a bit of an inefficiency here in this move here. So potentially, it could happen. We could see that run down, that inefficiency filled, sweep this level here, move back up. We test the range lows one last time.
I think that's a great trade setup. Not saying it's going to occur, but I think one has to be ready and react to that situation if the trigger is there. I think that is a fairly extreme move given where price currently is, but certainly it's not one that we can rule out. And what's the other alternative? That's the deeper pullback.
Sure.
Let's cover the shallow pullback. I think the shallow pullback is, if you look at...
Well, the shallow pullback would be wiping out this low probably, wouldn't it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. You've got a really nice SR level if you run the line slightly across to the left. And I think any swing fail of the low that you just marked out and a close you're back above kind of gives you a trigger there. Look at that. You've got a beautiful SR level.
Sure.
Retest into there. Maybe get a few people shorting because, hey, look, we've lost the level. And then price traps a bunch of shorts, and that's going to be the fuel to continue higher, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, will we get it? I'm not sure. Potentially. I mean, at the moment, I'm seeing a lot of bearish sentiment across the timeline. I don't know why, to be honest, because now that we've had this move, as we've said on calls, we speak daily on the charts, and the fact that this deviated tells us a lot. That gives us a lot of clues about where the market's going, in my opinion.
You talk about bearish sentiment. Now, is that in relation to Bitcoin, or is that more in relation to altcoins? If it's altcoins, I can understand that there's not as much perhaps euphoria is the wrong word, but the crowd was very rowdy on Twitter in February, March with altcoins rallying high. I just feel there's a mass level of silence now across the board on altcoins. People aren't making the same noises as they were back in February, March, and I wonder if a lot of people who had perhaps overexposure to altcoins have really felt the drawdown. But
mate, 100%. Alts got annihilated. Everyone got raped. It's been a brutal time for alt holders, and myself included. I put my hands in the air and say, I'm holding a long-term alt portfolio, and the slashes in prices we've seen across the board throughout basically what is just sideways action on Bitcoin has been pretty brutal. But if we look at historical price action, and if we can just look at what I want to show you. It was that these periods of consolidation across Bitcoin where alts tend to not perform very well is commonplace, and last stream we went through the halving, what we expect from the halving, et cetera, et cetera. And, essentially what we said was that we're going to see a lot of chop consolidation on Bitcoin. And why did we say that? You were talking about global liquidity. I was talking about historical price action post halving. And you can see that, that's exactly what's happened. There's been a huge lull in the market. So of course the noise is quietened down. But, if you what's worrying is that if you look at this log scale chart, historically speaking, on Bitcoin post halving effects, that we still have a fair bit to go if it's to mirror anything of the past. These are the halvings here. You can see 105 days of consolidation post, 168 days without any sort of significant move up. And then you look at what we've had here, which has felt like eternity, and it's just 40 days. So I think, the message I've been putting across social media recently has just been about patience. It's been about touching grass. It's been about realizing that, these things can seem like sprints, but they're in truth marathons, and you need to pace yourself for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, look, I think for me, it's I don't really see any concern. Look, I'm somebody who loves shorting markets, generally, and I don't see any real imminent danger just yet. And for me, I'm still looking to bid the market more than anything. The only time I've really advocated for shorts or being cautious was back towards the end of March, if you recall our conversations. I think we've probably seen some significant downside in alts.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I'm remaining optimistic. I don't see any real risk until we lose that 56, 55K level. Then there's 52 below there. But until that happens, it's not a concern. I'm just thinking ahead of immediate levels, which we've just discussed, two scenarios. And they're kind of the two levels that I'm looking at really as a trader, to trade this back up to the range highs. And I said, we'll see what happens after.
ETH, thoughts?
Really like it. Love it. I think the fact that we've tested the lows, several times, and we just can't seem to break below 2,700.
Yeah.
And I think if look, worst case scenario, like I said, I think ETH. Best case scenario, ETH ETF somehow gets approved. Great. ETH will probably fly. If it gets rejected, I think people already suspected it's going to get rejected.
Sure.
ETH performance over the last several weeks has been lackluster compared to other markets. But like I said, I think if the rejection comes, which I think is largely anticipated, we'll probably see some sell-off, for a few days. But I think it's going to be a short, sharp, shallow sell-off, and I think that in itself will probably provide another buying opportunity. Let's just imagine that we sweep 2,800s or dip into 27s.
Yeah.
If there is a breakdown and price reclaims 2,800, I think you've got to hit the bid. You've got to hit the bid because that's such a good invalidation level at 2,700. And you're looking to trade at least back up to 36, 37s again, I think. The surprise scenario is if ETH breaks down below 2,700 and it can't catch a bid. I'll be surprised, but I'll have probably missed a short trade, but it's okay. There's always other trades on the table. So I'm looking to bid. I'm not looking to short the market. Given the sell-off that we had on ETH BTC as well, it's like, all right, ETH BTC could go down by another 5%, big deal. I still think the upside risk is far more attractive than currently trying to short the market down here.
Yeah, likewise. I feel like, there's been so many ETH BTC charts up on Twitter. It feels like they're starting to get a bit exhausted. But I think, once those charts start dying off, we'll start to see that reversal. And yeah, I'm definitely thinking it's sooner rather than later. ETH looks solid here. Looking at the 4-hour, you can see we've had this range as well. Not like BTC in the fact that we had just one deviation. It's been much more choppy down here. But as you say, the 28 level is very strong.
Yeah.
Had that shallow sweep, but it's just, it couldn't break down past that. And then it's pushed back up against this diagonal, reclaimed here. Again, you can see the RSI reset down to the 4-hour. Yeah. If you go to the delta, it's the same sort of pictures as well. You're seeing these sell-offs, and then again, really nice pockets of negative delta, particularly on the spot side, as we just covered. That's really important. So all in all, ETH looks good from a technical perspective. As you know, I'm not too heavy on the news side of trading at all. I tend to just focus on the charts. So we'll see what happens with the ETF though.
Yeah, for me, it's simple. If we were going to break down, we would have broken down by now. The fact that it's held up shows us there's a level of resilience at that 2900. So until that gives way, we'll see. We'll reassess. But like I said, I'm not trying to predict here. Predictions don't serve me very well. I'm looking to react at key levels. And should we get a reaction down at below the 2800 level, and it reclaims back above, I think that's about as clear as of a long that one could ask for.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a few attempts to nail the trade. You know, it's understandable. It's very choppy down here. So
Yeah, for sure.
it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, agreed. Right, look, well, let's keep this nice and short and sweet. It's been lovely chatting as always. And yeah, hopefully this volatility drops off. We start to get some pickup in the market sometime soon. And yeah, looking forward to trading the rest of the year with you, mate.
Yeah, looking forward to retiring at the end of the year. So hopefully that's both you and me, right? But we'll see what happens.
Let's see how we go, mate. Let's see how we go.
Yeah, all good, brother.
All right, dude. Well, listen, it's been lovely. And yeah, have a nice day.
Cheers, mate. Speak soon.
Cheers. Bye.